Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The New World. And in today's video, we discuss the ongoing problem within the Pittsburgh Steelers organization and pinpoint a reason as to why the success of a legendary franchise has been downhill for some time now. But before we hop into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 10K subs, turn on those notifications if you haven't, and comment what you think the Steelers' problems were this season. Kicking it off the bar though, what are some of your key takeaways as to why the Steelers have failed this season, and what problem must they fix in order to make it back atop the AFC?
Fail? Problem? Whoa. Why is there a problem? Why was the season a failure? They won 10 games. I'm not understanding. I thought that Mike Tomlin, he had another year of a winning season. So what's the problem? They accomplished what I said that they were going to accomplish before the year started. I said when this team went 4-2 with Justin Fields and they went to move on to Russ, that this team was going to win 10 games regardless. And guys that I'm very, very close with, that I view as brothers, was telling me, no, this team can make a deep playoff run if they have Russell Wilson at the helm. So now, after we're reflecting on it, they got bounced in the first round in the wild card, just as I predicted that they were going to be. So I don't see why people are saying that this is a failure. We got what we got. We got what we knew what was going to happen. Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, is an overrated coach, because people are telling me that he's great. And I understand that you don't have the quarterback. Like I told my brother Jay, they don't have the quarterback. Even though Russell Wilson was playing, they don't have the quarterback. So I understand that. But if you're supposed to be a great coach, I take a look at that wild card game against the Baltimore Ravens, man, and they went down 21-0 at halftime. Say that again. 21-0. If you're supposed to be this great coach, this motivator, this leader of men, why was these niggas not ready to play? I'm seeing guys defeated on the first drive of the game. They had 60 yards at halftime total. This team has 60 yards. And then Mike Tomlin is going to come out when the second quarter ends and they ask him what happened. And he's like, oh man, it's just Lamar, man. So you were already mentally defeated. Then you want to come back in the second half and put up 14 points to make it look respectable. That game was not close. The Baltimore Ravens, if they wanted to, could have put up 40. They had 13 consecutive plays, 15 consecutive plays of running the football down your throats. So my question really isn't just, I don't really even want to talk a lot about this being a failure, because in my opinion, it wasn't a failure. Because I already knew what this team was going to be. And I already knew who this coach was. He's good enough to get you 10 wins when we don't talk about the talent, because they still have talent on their defense. They got talent. And if we want to give him all the credit for the defense, because he's supposed to be this defensive-minded coach, then why the hell could they stop a cold in the wild card game against the Baltimore Ravens, who we know they want to run the football? Couldn't stop it. TJ Watt, he couldn't stop it. He couldn't stop the read option to save his life. Every single time Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson is great at it, he's going to Derrick Henry every single time. And Lamar's taking and getting it the outside. Every single time they were running it back to back consecutively. So this was not a failure. What the team needs to do is let Mike Tomlin go. He's been there 17, 18 years. It's about time. It's ran its course, ladies and gentlemen. It has ran its course. Like I said in the video we made about George Pickens, Bill Belichick got let go, and he's way better a coach than Mike Tomlin. Way better. And the Patriots let him go. How I broke it down is, yes, we're going to win 8 to 10 games every year. That's cool. But if we're not winning a Super Bowl, then why does it matter? How are we improving? We haven't improved. We haven't gotten better. So factor one, we're not winning a Super Bowl. Let's cross that out. Factor two, okay, we're not going to win a Super Bowl right now. How are we improving? Let's look at guys like George Pickens. Let's look at wide receivers historically. Mike Tomlin doesn't hold these guys accountable. They don't hold him accountable. George Pickens has not gotten better since he's entered the league. He's the same player. So number two, you're not developing your talent. Then number three, your decision making. So what's up with the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields situation? Even today, I'm hearing reports that Russell Wilson, he wants to resign, but also that they're trying to negotiate a contract with Justin Fields. What are we doing? Mike Tomlin, what are we doing? What is the future outlook of this team? He doesn't know. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And number 4, and most importantly, these guys are not ready to play? It's the playoffs. I understand you had a 4-game losing streak. I get that. Understand that. But you got to get these guys ready to play. So what does that mean? That means that they're not listening to you. They don't respect your voice. They don't respect you. So it is time for Mike Tomlin to go. And if I'm an organization, if I have a young quarterback that needs growth, that needs development, I don't want Mike Tomlin because he hasn't shown us that he can develop young talent. So this season was not a failure. This is what the Steelers have been doing really since Big Ben left and a little bit before then. So this is their history. This is their track record. It was not a failure, but we know that the problem is Mike Tomlin. He got to go today.
So I'm gonna be a bit different than this because I think Mike Tomlin's actually a good coach. I just don't think that in this
I didn't say he wasn't a good coach. I said he was a good coach.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep on saying what I'm about to say. I think it's just in this conference, he doesn't. It's really hard to pinpoint all the blame to Mike Tomlin. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers, they came out flat in the wildcard game against the Baltimore Ravens. I did have them, predicted to win this, but they just came off of a really cold streak to end the year. They lost their last 4 coming into that game, which eventually became 5. I wasn't really confident with this team. Just going to the beginning of the season when they started the season off 9-3. And actually 10-3, and they was playing some really good ball. I don't really know what people were really expecting. They don't really have a really great quarterback, and the quarterback isn't young. And I understood they had a quarterback dilemma over the course of the season, which eventually came to bite them in the butt because they had many scenarios in that game where fourth and inches or 4th and 1, whichever one, where Fairmouth caught the ball and he couldn't extend. They don't go for it, and that's just a coaching issue to me. I think that you have to go for it just like that. The Baltimore Ravens are top 3 offense in the league. They have the soon-to-be MVP, and you're going to give them the ball back with more possessions. You have to steal possessions against guys like that. Guys like Lamar Jackson. That's how you win football games. That's how you steal wins. And Mike Tomlin honestly coached scared to me. He kind of coached a bit too conservative. And if you look at the numbers, Pittsburgh Steelers are very, very conservative, especially on 4th downs, risk taken. And that goes to the head coach because the head coach eventually makes a decision and the team just goes for it. So I'm not trying to let him off easy. I know Mike Tomlin is actually, he's a bit due for a different environment. That's why I think Mike Tomlin, and I understand. I don't think the Steelers are gonna let him go after the season. I don't really think so. If I'm just looking at when I watched the press conference, I think that Mike Tomlin was expendable. They was gonna get rid of him after this season. I didn't really think that's how it was gonna go. Now I know the discourse on social media and all these media outlets is basically Mike Tomlin's got to go, and I think the problem is a bit more nuanced in that. I think they're in one of the worst situations that you can be as a football team, where you're in a situation where you're making the playoffs every season, getting bounced out of the first round every year. We've seen them get bounced out early the last 7 years, and their last win, I believe, was against Alex Smith in 2016 against Kansas City Chiefs. So it's been a minute since they won. They don't have still a quarterback play. We know this, that their defense is talented, but they didn't really come to perform. And you kind of got to get on to Mike Tomlin about that. But like you look at certain plays, Patrick Queen wasn't there to play. I don't think they should have cleared Patrick Queen to play. He clearly didn't give no effort. There was a video of him playing defense, and he didn't even want to run. And there was another clip of him where Derrick Henry broke the touchdown. He didn't even want to tackle. He didn't even want to run, chase after him. I think they recorded his speed as the 3rd slowest on the team at that point in juncture, which as a linebacker is terrible because you have D linemen out there, and those guys weigh 300 pounds. So very disappointed that the defense didn't come to play, and the Ravens kind of stalled out. The Ravens could have dropped 30 on those boys, but they kind of stalled out at the end. And just looking at the offense, 60 yards is unacceptable. I don't care how good the talent is spread around, they couldn't really get anything. That's what I was alluding to. If Lamar Jackson, and I believe Lamar Jackson is capable when he puts his mind to it, because Lamar Jackson is a very mental player in my eyes in the postseason, because the brother has all the talent in the world, but in the postseason he kind of shrinks and he forgets how good he is. If you're playing against Lamar Jackson, you can't have 17 plays, no explosives in the first half, and expect to win a football game on the road in Baltimore. That's not going to happen. That's just a recipe for disaster. And a lot of this can be contributed to him. I just think the whole organization is they're just not in a really good spot. We saw George Pickens, he was late for the Christmas game. We dropped a video about George Pickens. He's been kind of disappointed this season, coming into like the final game. He was on track to break for 1,000 yards. He went into that game with 900 yards. He ended the game with 900 yards. Just kind of disappointed us throughout the entire season because we know the brother has a talent. It's just another thing where it's mental for him. It's mental for him, and he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. And I think he said in his post-game press conference that I think they asked him, like, was he excited about the offense? And he was like, nah, not really. And I was like, that honestly tells you, like, what you need to know. You feel me? And I
don't think he knows. They asked him about, was he optimistic? I don't think he knows what optimism means.
Probably not. But I think that's a situation where, in those scenarios, a team moves on from its player. Like, if Stephon Diggs said that, in the post-game presser when they lost that game in Kansas City, they would have just traded him like the next day. You feel me? Like, that's a situation where that, like something like that happens. So yeah, I think this Steelers team just isn't really that talented. You look at certain pieces, and TJ Watt, he had a very disappointing performance to me. He was like, defensive players, they think they can get off the hook, but they're not gonna get off the hook this time. Like, everybody looks at, oh well, the corners got beat. Like Pat Surtain let Curtis Samuel score a 55-yard touchdown. And I'm like, okay, the secondary gets all the crap. The D-line didn't come to play, and those guys, they weren't really trying to play. Cameron Haywood coming into the game, I didn't think his motor was really right, and I understand he's an older player, he's going to retire, most likely a Hall of Fame player. But if you're not going to give me 100% effort, why are you on the field? And if you look at a guy like TJ Watt, who I'm gonna give a lot of blame to because he just allows so many runs, like his run stops. And I know TJ isn't really known for his run stoppage. I think he's more of a pass rush guy, and I understand that. But brother, can you read a read option? And certain people were trying to say it wasn't his fault. Bro, an edge player has to watch that side. You're playing against arguably the best dual threat quarterback of all time. You have to watch your side. You have to watch that side when Lamar Jackson comes over there. So I can't really just pinpoint this on Mike Tomlin. Everybody has to get some of this piece of the pie to me. Everybody has to get some of this piece of pie. And Russell Wilson had a good night statistically. They kind of didn't perform in the first half, but the numbers look good. And he made a couple of big time throws in the second half. But the game was already over by then. You feel me? So, like, what was really the point? Like, it was just Philly. It was just padding out time. The Steelers are in purgatory, and they will be in purgatory for a minute.
Yeah, man, this Steelers team, it was pretty disappointing way to end the season. I just didn't like the way that, head coach Mike Tomlin handled that last game of their season. From what I saw, every time they panned the camera, because they panned the camera to this man a lot of times, but I still saw the same face, that same look. His demeanor didn't change at all throughout that game. He was playing conservative in that game. For what reason? I have no idea why. First of all, he started off the game receiving the ball against the Baltimore Ravens like he was finna play aggressive. And then twice in that first half, they had a chance to convert on 4th and short. They had a 4th and 1 and 4th and inches. You didn't even try and convert on that against the Baltimore Ravens. They're first in almost every defensive category, and they're one of the highest rated offenses in the league as well. Mike Tomlin didn't want to capitalize off of anything, and it was just the defense. They weren't riled up. Their motor wasn't there. I've never seen TJ Watt play that bad, but TJ Watt played really bad. He was biting for every read option, and it wasn't even close. He was getting fooled every time. We all know the DBs just all the time. We already know about that. You look at the second half, the only person that I see trying to get this team amped up is the quarterback, Russell Wilson. Like, he's the only person trying to put some fire in them. But then Mike Tomlin, he's still looking the same. And then, he goes on to say, hey, yeah, well, it's Lamar Jackson. Like, what? This the AFC North? These are where the gritty folks are? And you talking about it's Lamar Jackson. Like, it's just nothing. Like, he almost just is cool with settling, losing the wild. Because this is his 6th time in a row losing in the wild card. 6th time in a row. Mike Tomlin, one of the best head coaches. The winning head coach. 6th time losing. You go back, rewind to the beginning of the season. They had the dilemma, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. Who gonna start? At first they said Russell Wilson, then he got hurt. Justin Fields came in. Justin Fields had a 4-2 start. Now, I am a Russell Wilson fan, and when Russell Wilson got that start, of course, I was happy to see my favorite player play. But then if you look at it from the situation, it's like, what was the point of the decision? Because you take out a guy who was winning and was looking good and supposed to be the future of your team, and then you just sit him out.
Finally, the truth comes out. I love it.
Like, you just sit him out, and it's like, what? And then, the offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, who, man, I just can't even. It's a lot that I can say about Arthur Smith. He said,
hey, can I say this real quick? We was talking about him at work. People saying he just need to come back to FedEx. He just need to come back.
He need to work at FedEx, because I mean, this man throughout the season he was talking about, oh yeah, we got packages for Justin Fields. We're gonna try and insert him, have run plays, have him and Russ, take turns with the reps. And then we didn't see that. We just saw Russ, take him. And then, he might throw in Justin Fields for one play and then take him out the next play. And then come, the wild card game, building up to it. Arthur Smith said, oh yeah, we got packages for Justin Fields. So I'm like, okay, maybe we're going to see, Justin Fields take it into the game. Maybe he's going to get a drive or two. No, we still see Russell Wilson. And then when they were down 3 scores, no Justin Fields. But then they throw in Justin Fields like they was finna utilize him for, maybe a drive, one play. Like Arthur Smith, his decision making for that offense was not there. And you got the defensive minded head coach and Mike Tomlin, that was not there. So even though they have some older guys who didn't play as well, the coaching was I think the coaching was like 80 to 85% of why they lost that game. They weren't locked in at all. What it looked like with that game, Mike Tomlin was like, hey guys, in the locker room, hey fellas, let's try and have a good game. We are playing the Ravens. They real good. Let's try and do our best against them. Whatever the outcome is, I still believe in you guys, this and that. But no, that's not moving me to win a game. And Caleb said in our previous video, we were talking about George Pickens. He said, Mike Tomlin, I go to war for him. But in that game, wasn't nobody ready to go to war for him, because it didn't look like he was ready to go to war. So it's like, if my coach don't got the energy and the fire to want to beat this team, our division rival, whose chain we've had for a little minute, especially against, the MVP quarterback. He's only won 3 out of the six or 7 games that they've had against each other. Like, the energy wasn't there. Mike Tomlin, I do agree with Caleb. I think he might need to change the scenery. It still seems that they don't know what's going on with the quarterback situation, because they want to re-sign Russ. I think they said something about re-signing Russ, a couple of weeks ago. They want to re-sign Russ. They want to re-sign Justin Fields. And then I actually just seen something about, potentially George Pickens getting traded. It's a lot going on with the Steelers. I think they should get rid of Arthur Smith as well. I didn't even like when he was with Atlanta. He had all that talent and he couldn't do nothing. This team, even though they winning games, it's not moving anybody. They haven't moved anybody for a long time.